Hi everyone, it's Margaret with Creative Stamping with Margaret. Today's video features the Valley in Bloom Suite collection. This beautiful collection is from the new catalog that was released earlier this month. This suite was the focus of the card for the May card class. So if you ordered a kit to go, you'll be receiving all of the items to replicate these cards. You will need to do your own stamping though. And I die cut everything that doesn't require stamping first. So just be aware of that in your kit. So we're using the Lily of the Valley stamp set, as well as the coordinating dies. And as you see on today's card, I have pulled in, for the sentiment, we're using the smallest die from the Stylish Shaped Circles. So let's get started. The materials that are being used, we're using Blackberry Bliss for our card base. We're also using the two-tone crumb cake. Then in the DSP, which is the Valley in Bloom Designer Series paper that comes with that suite, there are just gorgeous patterns. We have the Lily of the Valley, then on the reverse side, the yellow, then we have green with some more. This is the Golden Glow, which is a new color. Then we have pages that can be used, cut and used to make cards or use them for scrapbooking. Just absolutely gorgeous. But as you see, we're using the plaid, and I said crumb cake. That is actually basic beige. And then just these gorgeous other colors that are in the come in that set with the Designer Series paper. So as I said, this is basic beige, not crumb cake. That's a layering panel for our interior. And then of course we're using a DSP layering panel. We have our strip of Blackberry Bliss, another pattern of that Designer Series paper. And if you ordered the kit, you will have, these are already die cut, but I did you'll have a panel of the green, garden green, as well as basic white that you'll need if you're making this on your own. And then of course our interior panel. And in addition to that, you'll need two small pieces to cut those small, using the smallest Stylish Shaped circle. And just a tip, you can stack these and the dies, run it through your machine back and forth, and you can cut both at the same time. From the stamp set, you're going to need the sentiment that's a little thanks. You'll also, if you wish to embellish the inside and the envelope of your card, I recommend you pull out that larger Lily of the Valley stamp set. Inks, we're using Blackberry Bliss. And then for that, using the large stamp, the Garden Green. We are using the Blackberry Bliss blends. I'm using the light one plus a color lifter, and you'll see how that works out. The die that you'll need is the single lily die. Now, as you notice on our card, we have the stem that's been die cut in the green, and then we have the white lilies that are attached over that. I'm going to give you an important tip that I think saves a lot of time. If you look in the die set, there is a die with 3 of the flowers that you can cut. That takes a lot, you know, you're making multiple cuts. what I've done, and I'll show you this with the card, is I've just cut a green one of these and then the white and clipped it. So you'll see that as we make the card. So let's go ahead and move on to assembly of our card. So for the first thing, let's go ahead and just get our layering panels done. If you wanted to save designer series paper, you could cut these side panels smaller, but I found that I prefer just to layer these up. But see, that's the reverse side. That would make a beautiful card front as well. You almost hate to put adhesive on it. It's so pretty. It's been a while since I've had a video and done a video and posted it on Facebook, but I will be posting 3 other videos from this class. There's a total of 4, so be sure to be on the lookout for those, because this was an absolutely gorgeous set to use for making some beautiful cards. We have a fun fold card that is one of those 4. Then we just get this centered on there. Then we can move on to our other pieces. We'll pull this aside to stamp for the inside in a minute, but we can go ahead and place our basic beige two-tone, and you can decide if you want the darker or the lighter. I think I'm going to use the darker on the interior. I think I use the light on the other. It makes no difference. So let's pull in our die cuts. Now, just like I was talking about doing with the little circle, you can also layer these and run those through the die machine. I would go forward and backwards depending upon how much pressure you get with your die cutting machine to cut those. Then you just pop those out and reverse them, separate them, and you have your pieces. To save time, I have already die cut them. So you see, I have cut these, and now I have my set with the, or a pair with the white and the garden green. So the garden green is going to be our base. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and take my snips, and I'm just going to trim these white ones off that will be added to the stem. I just found this was easier than going through and cutting a bunch of the other. And I just sort of lay them out how they go in order. Back onto the green stem. And for the one that overlaps the stem, you do have a few additional little places that you'll need to snip that. But I just sort of followed along and snipped that off. And the same along the bottom edge. And then just to smooth that a little, I just sort of shaped it up the side. And there's a couple I noticed I did not trim so great, so I'm just going to snip, make sure that that's snipped good there along that where the stem met. And then I found it easiest just to come in and go ahead and add a drop of glue to each of those green. It only takes a small drop. And then I'm going to have to slide this over so I can pick it up. Then we're just going to start placing those where they go. No, in class the other day, I think that a lot of the ladies, attendees, decided they put their glue on the back of the lily, and I actually think it's easier to put it on the stem part lily that you're covering. It just, for me, that was a little easier, but it's obviously whatever you feel most comfortable doing. So there we have I should have put my little silicone mat, but that's okay. So then we just make sure that we're covering that green. So we'll have 2 of those. And as you see, I've already prepared one. Then this is where I pull in and color just the top or the edge. You could go down around the side with the light bliss. Just color as much or as little of that flower that you want. And on some I come down. I mean, there's no right or wrong way. I have adhesive. I ended up getting it on my fingers, so it's picking up the stem here. Why is it that I can never keep that liquid glue off of my fingertips? It's great glue though. So now I'm coming in with the color lifter, and I'm going to switch to the other end. Let me just make sure I have all color out of this. And I'm just lightening and pulling this ink down a little more. Just gives it a little bit fainter look and smooths it out just a little on that flowers. Of course, you could color much more of the flower if you wish, or you could even do less. I just thought using this color lifter, though, softens and fades that so it looks a little more like a true flower. Whoops. Pull this top off again on my blends here. We have the light blackberry bliss. Oops, I put the wrong lid. I wonder. Okay. Then we again using my color lifter to lift some of that, move that ink around, lifting it some. So now that we have those prepared, we can put those onto our card. And as you see, I have one that I have laid down flat. The one that comes across, I have added some of the mini dimensionals to the back. There again, you only need a drop of glue on, I would say, each of the back of those, and then you can put just a little light dabs of the glue on the back of the stem. As you know, this glue is quite strong, so once it dries, it really holds it in place. And a little goes a long way. And we're going to come back in with our second one, and this is where you pull in your mini dimensionals. And they work perfectly on the back of the flowers. You may have to adjust some of the ones on the smaller of the flowers. I did cut a couple of them in half, just to make sure they did not overextend on the back of the flower. I'm going to find these little backs, as I always do, all over the floor. And then we're just going to determine where you want to place this. And if you have your tweezers, I do recommend using those. As you notice, the holding on to those, it would want to stick to my hand. And then I just sort of crisscross these, make it a little bit lower. And I'm not worried about putting adhesive on that lower part of this stem because our sentiment is going to hold that down. Excuse me. And so I have pre-cut our sentiment panels. I think you've all seen how die cutting operates by putting the die on. Let me find the smaller piece. So we have our back, and I'm just going to apply that directly to the card using multi-purpose liquid adhesive. So we'll just put that glue, add that glue there. We'll stamp using our Blackberry Bliss into the center of our circle. And this is popped up using dimensionals. You could use either size, but since I have the small ones, I'm going to continue using the little mini dimensionals. And then we're going to offset this a little so that we have the Blackberry Bliss just to frame the left side of our sentiment. For embellishment on the front, we're using the In Color, the new In Color butterflies. In addition to the In Colors, they also have clear, and that's the color that I decided to use. You could use any of those colors, but I thought that the clear was the best for what I wanted to use. Forgot to take the back off of that one. There. So we've completed the front. So for our interior piece, let's bring our panel in. We're going to stamp that. I'm going to pull in just so it doesn't stick. I've got a scrap piece here. Bring in our garden green. And just stamp lower portion. And you'll do the same on your envelope. So if you've got your envelope handy while you have the ink out, I would just go ahead and do that. And there again, we're going to use the blends to color that. I'm having issues getting the cap off. Let me pull there. Okay, that's much better. And of course, I'm coloring these just like I did on the front of the card. at another blends here of the color lifter. That one is, yes, this one is a little, that other one I think was getting dry. It's been used a lot. All that's left to do is add the center panel, not panel, but panel. Oh. Add it to the interior of our card, and we will have finished the Lily of the Valley, A Little Thanks. So this is Margaret Knight with Creative Stamping with Margaret. Thanks for joining me. And again, check out the other 3 videos that feature this stamp set that will be posted on my YouTube channel here for the next couple weeks. So be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you get an alert whenever those videos are posted. Thank you.